Yes, there's much action happening in Dhaka. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bangladeshi counterpart Sheikh Hasina inked and finally sealed the historic land boundary agreement. With that, India has now settled both its land as well as the maritime border with Bangladesh. After sealing the land pact, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina praised Narendra Modi. Also, they went into restricted and delegation level talks. The two countries, meanwhile, have now signed 22 agreements. Also, Sheikh Hasina there stating that there will be zero tolerance adopted towards terrorism. In the statement, in fact, she went on to say that Prime Minister Narendra Modi dubbed land agreement as a historic step. And this is an issue which has lingered since independence, which has finally been resolved.
As we deepen our political engagement and celebrate our rich inheritance, as our economies get more integrated and our people better connected, our nations will become more prosperous. I will also open new economic doors for India's northeast, and it will enable our two countries to integrate South Asia and connect it with the dynamic East. We launch 2 bus services that will connect our citizens more easily and our two nations more closely. We were privileged to have with us the Chief Minister of West Bengal. These two events highlight our shared values and interconnected destinies.
That's clearly Narendra Modi and Sheikh Hasina there, in fact, praising each other, thanking each other. Also, the two countries will now open additional missions in Guwahati and in Sylhet. India, of course, to come up with those 2 special economic zones in Mongala and Bhedmera. 2 new bus services were also flagged off by these 3 leaders together in Dhaka. India will extend the $2 billion line of credit to Bangladesh. In the studio with me continues to be Mr. G. Parthasathy, former diplomat, former ambassador. But also, you know, that Mr. Narendra Modi there in his statement saying that the essence is about deepening regional connectivity between Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal. We also know that there is that motor vehicles pact between these 4, which is almost ready to be inked. Is the message which he sent out in SAARC too, and he's sending out now once again, is to countries like Pakistan that the way forward within a multilateral setup is really sub-regionalism, and that is where Bangladesh comes in.
I read it as a somewhat different message to Pakistan. All right, if you block connectivity, if you block trade, we will find other routes.
Yes.
So in effect, instead of having a route from Kabul to Rangoon connecting all of us, we are now going to have it India, Bhutan, Nepal and Bangladesh.
Is that sub-regionalism within SAARC that is now taking
That's always been there. The fact of the matter is that unless you have sub-regionalism, and don't forget another thing, we have another organization called BIMSTEC.
Yes.
Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and upon now Nepal and Bhutan as landlocked states. So I think what we really should move towards is, if you want to make SAARC more effective and force Pakistan, make these organizations sub-regionally more effective. Go ahead with your connectivity and let Pakistan realize it loses by not joining in.
Also that, you know, the kind of cooperation that we are now seeing in the power sector, where there was 500 megawatt of power, now we're talking about 1100 megawatts, you giving them power from Tripura to, in fact, Indian private companies now moving into Bangladesh. Is that really, these are the kind of sectors where you need to think of instead of just focusing on the disputes?
Exactly, because Sheikh Hasina and Bangladesh are persuaded that if they want to retain about 6% or 7% rate of growth, don't forget, on textile exports, they're doing better than we are globally. They, and that is of finished products, including apparel. Now, the fact of the matter is they need power. We already have given 500 megawatts we are supplying from West Bengal. We've put the grids, and 200 megawatts from Tripura. There is 1,320 megawatt power station being built by the public sector, National Thermal Power Corporation. And there is this possibility of the Indian private sector joining in.
Yes.
Meaning, we look at another situation now. We've talked of road connectivity. We can have energy connectivity, because if Nepal and Bhutan join in fully with hydroelectric power,
So it's
you
an-
can have an electricity eastern grid
It's
linking Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh,
which of course
and India.
is the basic demand in an important challenge for any developing economy. Stay with us. Let's cut across live to Dhaka, where Manogya Lohibal, my colleague, who has been tracking the situation on the ground, in fact, joins us now. Manogya, take us through the highlight really, of this joint statement, the meetings. What we saw on camera, we have it there. But what are you learning from sources? What was happening behind the camera in those restricted talks, in those delegation talks? How has the mood been on sensitive, contentious issues?
Well, the mood has been quite optimistic. The discussions that we've been told by seniors and the delegate members also, they say that it was extremely important. One, because there were discussions on a positive note, most of them, if not in the presence of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, because Teesta was a contentious issue and Prime Minister Narendra Modi ensured that he did talk about it. Even though mincing his words, he said that it would be a political resolve required to get ahead of it. That has been the biggest concern. However, the fact, what we could gather from the ministers here in Dhaka, they're welcoming the fact that India has again issued and announced a grant of $2 billion to Dhaka. Now that is something that Dhaka needed, that Bangladesh needed, and that has come as a welcoming address from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Besides that, it's not just about the inflow of funds, but also the inflow of industry that the country will be seeing, which has come on a very positive note, which is something that the country was looking forward to. They are a developing economy and they are in need of funds as far as business and establishments are concerned. Maritime security has been a point of big concern. Even that was a point of discussion between the two prime ministers. The delegates, however, did discuss on various points, including the security and of course the border issue, which has been one of the most sensitive issues of firing by BSF or the BDR on either sides when there has been crossover by people, the local residents, or maybe the identified or unidentified terrorists also.
Right.
So that has been a big point of concern between the two countries.
Well, Manogya, we might just lose that technical connection somewhere, but so I want to come back to you now. What is the program here on? Also for the banquet, any surprises lined up? I think for Mamata Banerjee, I'm sure Sheikh Hasina must have ordered in those Podda Hilish. Not sure, of course, Mr. Modi can't partake of them though.
Well, I'm told there's some command dhoklas here also, not only about Ramakrishna Math, which has prepared some dhokla for him tomorrow, but the dhokla seems to be there everywhere in every country, follows him because being his native taste. It is here in the Macher Desh, we call it Ilish Macher Desh, because Ilish, rather the hilsa fish, is the most famous fish, and that's the reason why Bengalis relish it. And I tell you, I'm being a vegetarian, I'm not missing out on anything, but the people savor this taste. And as far as our vegetarian Prime Minister is concerned, well, he might be treated to some more delicacies. Especially, I'm told there's some special sandesh that has been ordered for him for the evening dinner tonight.
Right. I was about to tell you that at least you are lucky to have some steamed hilsa, unlike our Prime Minister. But maybe if you don't have them, Manogya, fly back via Delhi and get some for me as well. But stay on. Ambassador Partha, the maritime security and the other security issues that Manogya referred to, keeping in mind that we share one of the longest border actually with Bangladesh. How do you look at the situation within Bangladesh? We've seen the killing of atheists, of bloggers in Bangladesh, 3 of them killed so far. The hardline section is pretty active. There is that fear of the rise of IS in the region. How are you looking at it?
I think you should remember one thing, that there is a fight for the soul of Bangladesh within Bangladesh. It emerged as a secular country. Secularism was written into its first constitution. It was deleted just after Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated by no less than General Ziaur Rahman.
Yes.
So this fight between the elements which want an Islamized society continues, and the secularists continues. And to the extent that India engages them with everything from Rabindra Sangeet to cricket, that helps. Now, you should have seen the joy when they beat Pakistan.
Yes.
I mean, they went berserk, much more so than the most Indians get. So I think the factor is Indian relationship should be able to influence the internal politics and dynamics of Bangladesh.
Let's hope so. And in fact, the Indian cricket team is also perhaps much more being watched on by Bangladeshis, where of course Narendra Modi has also drawn considerable attention as far as the people there are concerned.
And you are one of their players in the IPL, Shakib.
Yes, it is. So clearly there are
and for Kolkata.
Interesting things happening between New Delhi and Bangladesh, and perhaps this visit in fact adds that absolutely new chapter, gives much more momentum to this very crucial bilateral relationship. We are taking a short break, but news and updates continue on India Today.